So, today we're looking at a really powerful story about love, resilience, and maybe most importantly, why it is so critical to listen to your own body. We're going to break down the journey of Alyssa and AB, a super vibrant couple whose world was just completely turned upside down by a devastating diagnosis, and what their fight can teach all of us.
Wow, I mean, this quote from Alyssa, it just hits you, right? It really gets to the absolute heart of the story. It's such a raw, honest look at what it's like to live with a life-altering illness. It's a daily battle, and it's fought not just with medicine, but with this incredible will to live for the people you love.
To really get the full impact of this diagnosis, you gotta see the life they had before all this started. Before the illness, Alyssa and AB were building this amazing life together, one that was moving fast and was just full of joy.
And just look at this timeline. You can really see the momentum they had. They meet in 2016, and then boom, boom, boom. In just a few short years, they're engaged, they're married, and they've bought their first home. They were on that perfect, happy path, building a family and a future together.
And I mean, their life was in constant motion. These two were incredibly active. We're talking CrossFit, hiking, going to concerts. And on top of that, both of them were super driven, balancing these demanding careers with a really rich family life. These were not people who slowed down. They were all in on every part of their lives.
But then things started to feel off. This is where their long and honestly really frustrating medical journey begins. In 2020, their lives took a hard turn, kicking off this 2-year search for answers that would test them in every way you can possibly imagine.
And the scary part is, the symptoms didn't all show up at once. It started with this extreme, just crushing fatigue that she'd never felt before. Then her smartwatch starts going off, alerting her that her resting heart rate is over 100. Then came this severe, constant heartburn with literally every single meal. And finally, the most alarming one, she started having trouble swallowing. And this, right here, is where things get so frustrating. Alyssa knew deep down that something was really wrong with her body, but her concerns were kind of brushed off with things like, oh, it's probably just stress, or even her age. Can you imagine being in your early 30s and a doctor chalks up intense, brand new heartburn to just getting older? And all her blood work kept coming back normal, which only made it all the more maddening.
And you can just feel the desperation in this quote, can't you? Alyssa felt like she was being painted as a hypochondriac, even while her own intuition was screaming that something was seriously wrong. It's a feeling so many people go through, that terrible struggle between trusting a medical professional and trusting your own body. So after 2 long years of this uncertainty and this back and forth, one single procedure would finally lead to a diagnosis. And it didn't come in some quiet doctor's office. Nope, it came in a phone call that changed their lives in an instant. Just let that sink in for a second. 2 whole years. 2 years of appointments, of being told things were fine, of spending thousands and thousands of dollars out of pocket, all while her health was getting worse and her anxiety was just going through the roof. And that final step, that one test, was an endoscopy. The doctor saw some inflammation and took a biopsy. A few days later, the phone rang with the results. The diagnosis was gastric cancer. The doctor explained that it came from a really common stomach bacteria, H. pylori, that had probably been in her system for years, completely untreated. In some rare cases, it can turn cancerous. After a 2-year mystery, they finally had a name for what she was up against. Abe's take on that moment is so stark and so real. It just cuts right through the Hollywood fantasy of it all, doesn't it? There's no dramatic sit-down conversation in a dimly lit room. It's just a phone call, a regular afternoon that's suddenly shattered by news that redefines your entire world. So they had a diagnosis, but that was just the beginning of a whole new reality, one filled with physical, emotional, and financial challenges that just rippled through every single part of their lives. And the ripple effect was just immense. Physically, her muscles were depleting, taking away all that strength she'd worked so hard for. Emotionally, she had to grapple with losing her independence and that awful feeling of being a burden. And on top of all that, you have enormous financial stress and the constant, nagging fear of the unknown. And if you want a number to wrap your head around just how insane this was, check this out. 15 separate appointments in a single week. I mean, think about that. The sheer logistics of managing a stage 4 cancer diagnosis are just completely overwhelming. But this next part really shows you just how much was taken from her. Nothing illustrates that profound loss of independence more than this. Alyssa said, "I at one point had to ask AB to feed me because I couldn't grab a fork." A moment where she felt completely and utterly helpless. Okay, so through all of this darkness, Alyssa and AB learned some incredibly powerful lessons about fighting, about supporting each other, and about love. And what they went through gives us some really clear takeaways for anyone who's facing a crisis. For patients, Alyssa's advice is invaluable. First, focus on what you can control, things like your nutrition, your mental health. Second, let yourself feel the anger and the fear. It's okay, but don't let yourself live there. Third, you've got to speak up and ask for help. And finally, always remember your why. For her, it was her family. That's the fuel that keeps you in the fight. And for the partners, the caregivers out there, AB's advice is just as crucial. Number 1, take their symptoms seriously from day 1. Number 2, ask what they need. Don't assume, because their needs are going to change constantly. Number 3, be selfless and find those small ways to bring a little joy, like a cup of coffee in the morning. And maybe the most important one, don't stop living. Keep planning things to look forward to, because having a future worth fighting for is absolutely essential. Alyssa and AB's story is an incredible story of love and strength, for sure. But at its core, it's a massive wake-up call about advocating for yourself. And it leaves us all with a really critical question. Are you truly listening to your body? And if it's telling you something is wrong, are you prepared to fight until you get the answers you deserve?